Hi, I'm author Teague. You can call me Tricia, and I just got done with shopping today and I'm just watching the sunset, so I figured while I'm waiting for the sun to set, I would do a little video for those who are curious about why and how maybe I became an author. And I've watched other authors do these videos and loved when other authors do these videos because I'm nosy. So for other people who are nosy and want to know more, I thought I'd do my own little video. But first, I kind of want to show you what I bought because it's Christmas time. I bought these for family, but look at this. Look at this. The dude said it was parasite wood. Look, it's an eagle. Isn't that so cool? Then I bought this for my dad. It's a calendar. But yeah. But anyway, very proud of myself for buying cool things. I bought a bunch of other stuff, but they're in the back of the car and I'm not gonna go get them. But yeah, so a little bit about my author journey is that I read a lot as a kid, which I think, a lot of authors read a lot as children, so it's not an original story, but I kind of, Tamora Pierce was my favorite author. She wrote the Alana series and then a bunch of other series, but the Tortal, I think that's around it, universe, and I kind of got obsessed. I read all of her books very quickly, and they were all in my elementary school's library, so I didn't even have to buy them. They were just there. So I just kept on going to the library. And then I grew up with my grandma raising me. My mom died when I was really young, so then I lived at my grandma's, but she got sick for a summer and I moved in with my dad. Me and my dog moved in with my dad. And he worked a lot. That's why I lived with my grandma, because she was retired. But so that summer it was kind of like, and I went from a house with a backyard and a dog to a small apartment where my dad was gone a lot. So it was kind of a, what do we do with Patricia for the summer? Because you couldn't really make play dates every day for me with my friends, even though we tried, So he was kind of like, well, I guess this summer you're gonna write a book. And I was like, okay, because he didn't want me to be on TV, watch TV and everything. So he showed me his computer, and at age of, I think, what was I, like 10, whatever, I decided to write a book. And it was what was it? No, Twilight had just come out. Yeah, Twilight had just come out. I read that. So I wrote a vampire werewolf hybrid, set in like epic fantasy world, but there was also like time travel. Yeah, I don't know. I went full imagination, 10-year-old, just, I can't really remember it, but it was like, but yeah. I named the main character after my best friend, and my dad still makes fun of me. He's like, you couldn't think of any more unique names? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, my creativity peaked with the vampire werewolf hybrid at that point. But yeah, so I kind of, after that, kind of got the writing bug and wrote fan fiction, which you will not find on the internet anymore. I think I deleted everything that I needed to delete. You don't need to go looking for my fan fiction, especially not my Harry Potter fan fiction, my Teen Wolf fan fiction. No, you can't find it. But I was always kind of obsessed with writing, which, but it was kind of like a situation where, the adults were like, well, that's nice, that's a nice hobby, but people don't make money doing that. My dad, when he was growing up, he did lots of like art, we have and I've done lots of art, but it was kind of like, so he kind of put it in that way. He's like, you know, I love painting and stuff. He likes drawing and stuff, but people don't make a living doing that, you know? So it was kind of like, I was always kind of like, well, you can, so for me, it was always like, well, you can do that, but you need to be able to eat at the end of the day. You need to be able to have an apartment, like buy your own food at the end of the day. So in college, I decided to not go for the English creative writing route. I did take, each semester, I did try to take a writing class, like creative writing 101, creative writing 102, creative writing 103, you know, each quarter. So I did that, but ultimately I got my degree in tourism and events because I also like, you know, going to new places and traveling, which also I was told wasn't going to make you rich, but I was like, well, I'm already, I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't a person who could, like, you know, sit and work in an office. You know, my dad was like that, my grandma was like that, and they, you know, they didn't like it, and I was like, well, I want to, you know, be able to work my own hours, you know, and travel and stuff. But I graduated from college 2019, and guess what happened in 2020? The touristic and event sector of the world collapsed for a couple years, so it was kind of like, what am I gonna do? So I ended up, at the beginning of 2020, I opened an Etsy, which has since closed, so I was selling my own art and paintings, and I became a dog walker and a house sitter. Though at the beginning, you know, it was more of the dog walker because no one was really leaving their houses, but after things opened up again, I became a house sitter for dogs and cats and, you know, chickens, people who wanted to go on vacation. But I started writing. It was kind of like, well, you can't leave the house, you can't travel, you can't have an event, you can't do anything, so why not just write that book that you've been always wanting to write? So I did. It took a couple months to write the first draft. It was very short first draft, I think like 20,000 words, and then it took a year to rewrite and edit, and then I had it to a place where I was like, okay, I think this, you know, it's okay for other people to read this at this point, you know, like not ready to publish yet, but I think I'm okay if someone else wants to read this. So yeah, so I sent it to some editors, and it ended up being published in, what year is it? It's 2024, 2023, August. And if that is wrong, please don't correct me because I'm not going to try to remember any better than that. But yeah, so 2023 August is that first book was published, and it was a paranormal cozy mystery set in Ireland. And I had lived in Ireland a couple times, and my mom's side, she was Irish American, so I felt, you know, and I love magical books, so I felt it was kind of, you know, my niche, something I loved writing. So then that became a 5-book series, and then I was like, well, I do like these cozy books, but I also like horror and romance, you know. In the cozy kind of genre, it's like, no, you know what, on the page, no swearing, no violence, and I was kind of like, well, I kind of want it to be a little bit more, I don't know how to put it, like graphic, but horrific. So actually I was, what was I doing? Oh no, so I spent a January dog sitting on a farm in middle of Montana, and it was -40, and the dogs were like Saint Bernard mixes, you know, cattle dog mixes, and they absolutely love negative 40 degrees, negative 30 degrees. And I was like, if I open the front door, I choke because it's so, I can't breathe because it's so cold. And so I spent most of that month inside trying to get the dogs to, like, not freeze their little butts off. So, but I also was kind of like, well, I kind of want to try something different. So I ended up writing what I thought was a domestic thriller. People who have read it have since corrected me and said I was writing a second chance M&M romance with, mystery, thriller elements, suspense, I guess would be. So M&M suspense, sort of. But I was like, okay, and that was fun. So then I wrote that. That's what I did that month when I couldn't go outside, It ended up warming up to like negative 10 to like positive 10 degrees. So I was able to walk the dogs and go outside with the dogs, along the river on their property and stuff. But I wasn't going to do that all day because, yeah, because Montana cold is no joke. But anyway, so then over the past several months this year, I decided to write some shorter, more experimental stories, because I was told by other authors, if you want to switch genres, if you want to do things, switch it up, start maybe shorter before you like get into the actual longer books, just to see if you actually like it, if you like the genre or not. So I wrote a short horror story, and then I wrote a short historical fantasy story, and then I'm writing, I just finished, haven't edited it yet, but just finished, I don't know how to put it, it's like a horror, urban fantasy, dark urban fantasy, set, underneath Versailles near Paris in France. And so I was like, well, I'm hopping all over genres, which as you're an author, it's kind of like you're told, oh, your brand, you need to stay in your lane. And I'm like, but my little brain likes pinging around and reading everything. So I don't know if I will follow that advice. But so those 3 short stories, I was like, well, what do? How do I connect them? And so in my brain, I had an idea that, and I wanted to write, a more like a dark romance with magic, because if I'm writing it, there's probably going to be magic. So I am in the process of writing a reverse harem, dark romance, urban fantasy set in Prague in the Czech Republic. It's a city I've been to a lot before, absolutely love, and I kind of wanted to, set a book there. And it's reverse harem because I've been reading a lot of reverse harem, and it's dark because I really like writing darker. So yeah, and so the 3 short stories are now, I kind of tied them in to their like side characters. Those 3 are like side characters of this reverse harem book. So that's kind of my writing story, my author story. It's not more of the how, it's more of the why, and I just cannot stop writing. Which is good. I just want to be able to write more and do what I love, and kind of just eventually be able to travel more, and write more. So anyway, that's my story, and thank you for listening. And one last thing before I forget is, if you have any questions, you can ask your questions below. I don't really do email, but I do keep up to date with my YouTube questions, and and comments, and maybe I'll even do a video in the future, kind of an Ask Me Anything video. But remember to subscribe. Thank you. In case you wanted to see the view from where I'm at, these trees are in the way, but it is the sunset over the Montana plains and whatever, whatever that is.